All right, I'm going to call the first 2026 meeting of the Riviera Bay Civic Association to order, and we always start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I will say this is our biggest turnout in 4 years, so I'm really excited. There's a lot more people than I'm used to. Okay, so I'm Vanessa. If you don't know me, I was the president in 2024, trial by fire year, as we all know, with hurricanes, and 2025. So thanks for sticking with us. We've got what looks like a lot of stuff on the agenda tonight. But mostly I forget things, so I put it all on the agenda now. So we do have our new board nominations tonight. We have representatives from our District 2 Council Office. Kim Amos is here because Brandi is in Tallahassee advocating for some flood dollars to come our way. And Jack Thayer from Lindsay Cross's office, he's over here, is also here. So if you have questions for our Florida State rep, who is also up in Tallahassee, as a new legislative session just started, they will be here to answer a couple questions. But before we kick off the new year, we are going to close out the old. So we had an amazing holiday season in Riviera Bay this year. If you didn't catch the biggest boat parade in 30 years is what I was hearing. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, because we want to thank Brad and Lance, who really put that together and allowed us to change the date. It seemed to work, so we hope everybody enjoyed it. My favorite was a video someone posted going, "Oh my God, the boats keep coming." It was so sweet. I was out on the water with my husband, very, very happy I was not captaining that night because there was no moon. So we also had the Christmas decor contest. The neighborhood looked amazing. And we had our golf cart parade and our block party, which is something new for us, the block party, and I think it went really well. And if anybody wants to be the host of this year's block party, because we move it around the neighborhood, you come let me know after the meeting. Rally your neighbors. It can be in front of your houses. Okay, we are going to kick off tonight. Looking around, I think only one of our contest winners showed up to accept her trophy, which is amazing. So we wanted to thank the Partridge family for being the most festive decorated house this year in Riviera Bay. Kids have sports. Hold on, we gotta get a picture of you accepting this amazing piece of paper. And make sure I give you the right one. Ready? I have to sign it still because I forgot. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you for coming. Hold on. Which means more cute pictures of you guys on social media. So thank you, Megan. Thank you to everybody who participated. Remember, all of you here have paid your dues now, so you are all eligible for the 2026 decor contest, as well as all of the parades. So bikes, golf carts, anything. Get them out. We'll just mention our other winners, the Clark family, who dressed up as the Clark Griswold family on their golf cart were amazing. I know the kids were in some gymnastic competitions, so they might, I'm not sure if they're back in town. The Hill family on 87th Avenue had the most traditional decor, which was very pretty, lots of white lights. It was very hard this year. We drove around for like 4 hours. With the top down and Brett driving and me yelling, "Stop, stop, stop, there's another one, let's take a picture." So all of the pictures are in our Facebook group of the good ones, and then we take all the rest of them and put them in our Google Drive. So if you want to see all of your neighbors' fabulous houses again, they are there, and you will see more of them next year when we advertise again for the contest. So the next thing that we do every year is we want to thank all of our volunteers, because this is a 100% volunteer-driven organization. But we do tend to have some people that really stand out every year with the volume of volunteer hours they put in. And so this year, sorry, should have opened all of this before I started. We have a repeat winner because they spend so much time volunteering for Riviera Bay. Don't give me that look, you know it's you. Patty and Dana Thomas are our 2025 volunteers of the year. They spend a lot of time in our butterfly garden, more time than the rest of us spend in the butterfly garden. Let's get a picture with them. Here, I'll get in here too this year.
I would have known this. I would have combed my hair.
We like to surprise you. They also just randomly do trash pickups throughout the neighborhood, all on their own. So when you see random people picking up trash, it is very likely Patty and Dana. When it is not an accident, which is what the rest of us do. So we do have a lot of volunteer opportunities coming up again this year. If you have kids, if you have grandkids, they are eligible for Bright Futures volunteer hours that are needed in the state of Florida. We have a cute little form we fill out. We also did have another set of volunteers who are not in town tonight, but all of your, almost, not all, but almost all of the candles that you guys put out this year were stuffed by a group of children who live on 94th and Oak. So the Pavlika, the Gable, and Sydney Fink, one of their friends who lives on 90th, stuffed all of those candles. I would drop off 400 candles at a time and go back 3 hours later, and I would have them all, and I was carting them all throughout the neighborhood to your distributors. So in saying that, we do have open candle sales routes for 2026. We've had a lot of people that used to do it. They're elderly, it's too much for them. A lot of people have moved out of the neighborhood, so we have a lot of available routes. There is a map on our website that shows all of the areas that are up for grabs. You don't have to do all of the outlines, that's just what they used to be. If anyone is interested, get with us probably by November, so you don't have to commit today. But we will knock that off for you. We also had a lot of volunteers at all of our events this year. If you look at the second page of your agenda, we like to list all of their names, everybody who showed up for everything. So I would just like to personally thank them all for showing up because this is a lot of work when it rests on a couple of us. The board does a lot of work, but there are a lot of people that show up, they show up regularly, and we know how hard this year was in addition to the year before, with everybody still rebuilding their homes and the hurricanes, and there were so many people, even during this holiday season, that we're just getting back into our homes, or we still hope to be in the next 6 months. We'll be there, so we know that, we hear you, we love you guys. When you want to show up for us again, we'll be very happy to have you at one of our events. So thank you to everybody on this list, and thank you to our sponsors this year that helped us put on the events. We do have sponsors, I don't know if everybody knows that, but Brad Best sponsors our bounce houses for our festivals. Sunrise Skin and Wellness did barbecue for all of us at the block party. And then we have a whole list of people that help sponsor our newsletter, which is how we actually deliver it to everybody in the neighborhood still. So without them, we couldn't do all of this. So if there's anybody that has a business or knows someone with a business that you think they would do well advertising to us awesome people in Riviera Bay, let us know. We can help you get them on the list. Yeah. So, pivot. All right. So, yes, Chris is one of our sponsors for our newsletter. So that's right. Oh, he doesn't have a choice now. His name's on the next piece of paper we're going to talk about.
Finally back home.
Hey, Vanessa.
Yeah.
How about a round of applause for our wonderful president?
Thank you all. That's very kind. I don't do this for that. I do it because I love our neighborhood. And honestly, I don't have kids, but when the kids show up and they're so excited every year, it's one of those where you're just like, yay. Those little moments of joy and being able to help your neighbors, I just think is one of the most important things. So when I moved to this neighborhood, I knew no one here. Well, except my husband, so because we moved in together. But yeah, so it's been amazing, and everybody, honestly, almost all of you in this room I know pretty well, and I really, really value all of that. so thank you. But I do want to thank our last year's board. A lot of them are returning this year. We did have some people that aren't going to join us, which is totally fine. They've been through a year of being a VRMA board member, and I hold nothing against them. Yeah. And we did have one that moved away for work, but they kept their house, so they'll be moving back. This year, this 2025 board, 2024 was a little stressful. And 2025, I really felt like our board really pulled together and helped pull off a lot of things. We did a lot of new things this year, and we were able to get a lot more volunteers. And so I personally want to thank the board. And I thank everybody that's here, unless you want to say something. Yeah, I didn't think so. All right. So, do you have your financial update, Katrina?
I do.
All right, our treasurer, Katrina, is going to do her financial update.
I'm gonna this one. I know you talked about it. I'm still gonna leave it there.
Okay, just a quick recap of our last quarter financial statement. Our starting balance was $23,935.68. We closed out with $23,349.95. Our expenditures, storage, we have that every month. The luminaries and the candles, we spent $3,489 on that. We bought new signs. I don't know if you guys have seen them around the neighborhood, which helps a lot. And then the holiday block party, which was only $118. What we spent on it.
Thanks to our sponsor who paid
Thanks.
for all the food.
Exactly.
And to our neighbors who brought
Yes.
potluck.
Exactly. So, we did bring in a sponsorship payment of $1,300, which helps a lot. And with the memberships and the luminaries, I started the year before and the memberships were pretty low, obviously. But then this year we brought in $36.20. So that was a big improvement.
Awesome. So we have money to spend, guys. We're gonna save it up and try and get some more. So if you were at our meeting in October, I'll just recap. We found out that our bylaws from prior boards, not from us, we found this out, were never officially registered the way they were supposed to. So technically, they weren't 100% legal. Even though we were still going by them, they said that they had to be registered with Pinellas County. We looked into it. There was nowhere to register them in Pinellas County. We are going to register them going forward with neighborhood relations because they actually require that you do that every year to remain an active neighborhood organization. So we made some changes to the bylaw language to reflect that. There were some people on a past board that put in some very, very restrictive stuff about term limits, which, trust me, nobody wants to do this for that long. It is kind of hard to get people to take on the executive officer roles just because of the volume of time. So we decided that we would amend them to say, if you want to stay on and do this, you can, as long as the membership votes you in. The membership doesn't have to vote you into that role. And we changed that to where the old bylaws would nominate the board, and then the board would pick the president, vice president, and so on. We've changed it now where we can present a slate where it says, like, tonight I actually did that because I figured we were gonna vote this in, where it says who is gonna run for each office. So you guys actually have a voice in choosing if you want someone to be a president. If I'm doing this 10 years from now and you're like, God, Vanessa, that's enough, don't vote for me anymore, and I won't be on there. Whereas the old rules, they could just keep the same person in power for 30 years. And then we amended them to allow rental units. So a house can't have a dual membership, but if you have a long-term renter in the neighborhood, they should be prevented from joining the organization and participating in all of the activities that we do in the neighborhood and our volunteer things. So those were the big highlights of the changes, even though they weren't technically correct. And we did speak to a lawyer, in case you weren't here. We checked all this out. We had to give a 60-day period, so that period is over. So I'm gonna call for a quorum.
Second.
All right, very good. Which we have, because we were doing all the check-ins, that's why we're a little bit extra official tonight. And the way it says in the bylaws is by a show of hands, in the old bylaws, can we vote to pass new bylaws, which I guarantee this board will register appropriately, so they are in effect for the association and we don't have any issues. So, okay, I'm gonna say that passes, because the only people that didn't vote are the 2 people that don't live in the neighborhood, so, good. All right, with that, I'm gonna officially close all the 2025 business, and welcome to 2026. Okay, so this year, I'm gonna make all the board candidates introduce themselves to you, so that you get to put a face with a name. We didn't make anybody do that in the past, but guess what? Gonna be real short and sweet. We're not gonna take up a ton of your time. I'm Vanessa. I'm the president, and hopefully I'm gonna be the president again, because no one else wanted to do it. Just gonna be honest. And I'm gonna tell you one thing I'm really excited about is I am excited about how much movement we've got on resiliency in Riviera Bay. We have had so many neighbors come together to tell their stories to the city, to the state, to the news, to engineers, to try and get some of the flooding issues in Riviera Bay alleviated and some of the issues that have been just caused by Hurricane Helene. We're getting some funding for studies, talk about dredging. We're part of the conversation now, and I'm really hoping we can keep up that momentum. So with that, Ms. Patricia.
Hi everyone, my name is Patricia Delgado and I live on Sun Isle, and I moved here, well, we bought our house in 21 and we remodeled and moved in 22, then we remodeled again, thanks to the rain. But we're back in the house and I'm so excited to be serving a second term as vice president and helping Vanessa however and whenever I can, and the rest of the board.
Hi, Katrina. I live on Sun Isle as well. We bought our house in 2017, but didn't move in until April before Helene, right, officially, yeah. So, Christmas, while we were in our RV, Vanessa was out decorating for the block party, and I was sitting in my RV looking out the window thinking, gosh, I feel sorry for her, so I went out, and that's how I'm on the board. Don't help Vanessa.
Hi, my name is Kat Pineda. I live on 2nd Street. I moved in 2021 with my son. I'm sure you might see him around the neighborhood. His name's Donald. He pulls his little blue wagon with all his fishing gear, and he likes to hit different areas. But I'm looking forward to joining the board this year, and the exciting part is everything Vanessa's done up to this point and her team. And I want to get to know my neighbors, so I hope you vote me in. Yay!
Hello, I'm Bob Padalino. I live on Treasure Lane. I moved in 2021. I have quite a bit of experience with boards. I spent about 12 years on the board of my last HOA, which was in the Raleigh area before I moved here. And I've got a lot of experience. I spend a lot of my time volunteering, giving back to the community and serving people. I do that through churches, and I'm a Freemason, very charitable organization. And I have a lot of experience with advocating for the neighborhood, working with local politicians, and making sure that quality of life, safety, and preservation of our values, which is a very large investment here, are ultimate. And that's what I really hope to do in serving this community and working with the team. So, thank you.
You're next.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dawn Jones. I think you can hear me. I moved here in 1995. Woo! Anyway, I have the time now to give back to the community, and I'm looking forward to hopefully being your secretary.
I'm Tony Michaelov, and I moved in 1987 off of Riverside Northeast. And we live there, and we had a chance to buy on Sun Isle. So now we live over here. So I kind of know most of the neighborhood, both sides. I'm trying to get those people over on Riverside more involved. Because a lot of people are from this end. But anyway, I've been on the board, whatever, Brad and I came in together, what, 2000?
Yeah.
So, I'm just a fixture. Trying to get
Hey, I'm Brad Bess. I live on 97th. We're getting ready to move over to Oak Street. We've been in the neighborhood for almost 20 years, and I think I've been on the board since we moved into the neighborhood. We got 3 teenagers, 2 dogs, a 3-legged cat, and a wife. And yeah, we're getting ready to move from 97th over to Oak, and I'm excited for this year. And it's just, there's been so much excitement with the boat parade, the golf cart parade. It's awesome that we're back to some sort of normalcy here in Riviera Bay. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Ricker, and I am also one of the Sun Isle degenerates on this board. There's a lot of us on here. We went under contract with Brad and Chris Martin in 21. We were able to move in at the beginning of 22, and we are super excited to be here. I do a lot for the real estate community, a lot of fundraising, a lot of things that I do give that community. I'm very excited to be able to do that with my own neighborhood. So happy to be here. Thank you. Can't wait to meet you all. Shake hands and high five. I'm the quiet guy. You can't tell.
All right, thank you all for introducing yourselves. I've actually met a few of them for the first time tonight. So I think that's great. We didn't have to harass a bunch of people this year to be on the board. We actually have willing volunteers. So, yeah.
Do you still have to vote?
Yes, technically. We still have that you have to vote. So right now I'm gonna call for a quorum again.
Second.
There we go. And now, if you have not voted yet, please fill out your little ticker tapes and we will walk around with the Riviera Bay Cup. Brad is gonna come around with the cup, and that's how we vote. And then at the end, we will tell you who is elected. And I'm pretty much gonna tell you it's everybody. Because there are 9 seats, which means there are still 2 open seats. If you decide you want to join this amazing group of people on this board, call us, please. We'll force you into volunteering. I have to run a code. All right. And just so you know, because you are here this evening, you get page 3 of the agenda, which has all of our phone numbers on it. So you now can contact every single one of your board members instead of just writing our email. So lucky you. We don't put that on the website, but you all are part of this chosen ones. We've got one over here. Yeah. And then as well, just so you know, we put all of our legislative contacts on here for you. Quick cheat sheet to get their phone number, email, how to access them. There is a lot of stuff that is getting pushed this year. You read your newsletter. It's an election year in St. Pete. So there's going to be a new mayor. We're going to have a new district rep. Unfortunately, Brandi has hit her term limit, so we need someone new. It's not going to be me. Somebody else asked me to do that. I said no. But and our Pinellas County Commissioners, which for those of you that can hear Derby Lane, that's the phone number you want to call as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about Derby Lane later. And I'm going to make sure. So the back page, I'm just going to cover this. I made a lot of QR codes for stuff. So this is a little bit of an update on what we're going to do for Square. First things first is if you haven't voted for Riviera Bay yet, go do it now. Top one. Tony and Brad were both nominated to be Neighbor with Heart. This is out of all of St. Petersburg. So all of the neighborhood organizations, people who work for the city, people like me, people like you, we got to put in like where we think is the best in St. Pete. Riviera Bay was the only neighborhood to get nominated in every category. So thank you, everybody in Riviera Bay who thinks we're doing awesome. Think we can do better? Come out, do stuff with us. Come up with an idea, we'll do it. We're crazy like that. So you can scan that, vote against January 31st. So you got like 2 weeks. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. It's on our Facebook page. It might be on our website. Well, this will be on our website tomorrow. So if it's not, it'll be there.
Vanessa, you could vote more than once.
Well, you're not supposed to. I made them open that up because it wasn't working. They only want you to vote once, but apparently, if you don't know that, yeah. Mostly because we had some people go, well, my husband can't vote, or I voted, but and so I called them and they were like, oh, we didn't know an IP address locked voting, so. But I'm sure other neighborhoods have figured that out as well, so feel free. So we will find out how amazing we are in comparison to the rest of the city, even though I don't need them to tell us we are the best. In March, so we'll probably parade up here at the spring meeting, hopefully with like a bunch of trophies and plaques and stuff. And there's a bunch of other categories. So we are all in District 2, in case you are not aware. There is a master plan. Brandi told us about it last year. She's usually at our meetings, but again, she's in Tallahassee doing important things for us. And Kim, her aide, is here, so she's gonna cover some of these things tonight, but you get to put input, and District 2 is the whole area. So if you care about what our neighborhood and the surrounding area is going to look like going forward, it is really important that you go take this survey. Let them know what you think, let them know what you want to see. There's questions about green space, there's questions about a whole lot of infrastructure stuff and what developers are going to be allowed to do and all those kind of things. So if you like a little bit sleepy neighborhood, or if you want a giant nightclub express thing across the street, I don't know, high rises, you can put that in there and let them know what you think. I don't think we have this on yours. There is a seawall study survey, and I only mention this, all of our seawalls in Riviera Bay, except for along Riverside Drive, are private. There is a question about whether or not the city should take over all private seawalls. So that is about your rights as a property owner. So I would recommend you going to fill out that survey if you want to be able to maintain your autonomy over your own seawall. If not, say, sure, let the city take it over. There's some other questions in there too, but if you live along Riverside Drive or any of those areas where the seawalls are, the public seawall is failing, you can tell them your feedback about how well they're actually doing maintaining that. So I also would recommend filling it out for that reason. I have been working with the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council on the Coastal Master Plan. This came out of the Resilient State Heat program that Brandi, and honestly Kim, because she put the first one together, I'm gonna give you credit on that, champion, where the elected officials came into Riviera Bay 2 years ago before Helene, and we did a bunch of tours, and we showed them all the problems with some of the failing infrastructure. And we did another one last year after the storms. And then we've been in the crow's backyard a couple of times after Helene because of the issues with, so our canal system, if you aren't aware, is part of the stormwater system in St. Petersburg. So if the city isn't maintaining the dredging, that is why we're having more flooding in the streets when it rains and things like this. So there are a bunch of things that they're trying to do now, because we have new, so you can't blame everything on current government. I mean, there was 20 years where they could have been making big strides and they weren't. But they are trying, and Brandi is trying, and she's on the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council as well. But I've been working with them. It is for like a 5-county area, but they are doing it based upon like actual resident feedback. So you can sign up to follow what's going along. We're gonna have a couple of roundtables in the neighborhood where you can come and like tell the people that are actually gonna do the engineering. And what they do with this is, once they put this master plan together, it will allow the local governments to go out and like get federal funding so it's not just like we have to fund it for our local tax dollars. It can be grants from Washington, grants from other big societies that do environmental stuff. So just check them out if you're interested in it. They send you an email like every 2 months. Anybody can go. Like, it's not just me. We were invited to the initial one. Just because of how vocal me and one of the other neighborhood presidents were, and now it's like open to anybody. So if you want to come with me, and half the meetings are virtual, they're like an hour, and you just can give them feedback, or you can put them on mute if it's boring. So, but it's a really unique thing. They did something very, very similar in Louisiana after the hurricanes, with how they rebuilt the city and how they built it to withstand flooding and withstand hurricanes. And a lot of it is they don't know, and as we learned when we did the city tours, it's a big city, so we can say, hey, there's a problem with this, but until they actually come and look at it in person, they don't realize the magnitude necessarily. And the louder we are, the more attention we get. And you don't have to be mean, it's just the repetitiveness. The city's program with C-Click-Fix logs every time somebody reports something, and the higher those clicks for a certain area up, the more urgent it gets on the list. So that's a good way for active neighbors to get things done in the neighborhood, because that's how they do that metric. And there's one other event. Do you want to talk about the Wind Derby thing? Because I think you know more about it than I do.
Either way, I'm happy to.
I'm gonna have Kim tell you about this, because this one I think is,
I worked in Parks and Rec for 19 years, so I don't respectfully need that, but essentially, based on the feedback that we received from you guys, the Riviera Bay Homeowners Association, Renaissance Neighborhood Association, so as we kind of previously discussed, and for those of you guys that weren't here in previous meetings, essentially we've been getting a lot of feedback that not necessarily as much the sound, although I know at times it's been the sound, it's been a lot of the reverberation as well. From the Wind Derby events, and it's been a little bit more frequently as they've been getting more events. They've been doing some things to try to adjust the speakers, to adjust the volume, some other things, trying to change some of the locations in the way that they place things. Some of it seems to have been working for some of you, and for others it's gotten worse because of the way that they've shifted things. So what we've been doing to collaborate with them is to have a neighborhood event where essentially you can go and give them your thoughts. Now, I would say to you, technically, this is a Pinellas County property. So while we can ask them we as the city of St. Petersburg can ask them very nicely, technically I, as a city employee, cannot make them do anything because they are in Pinellas County's jurisdiction. We've been coordinating with the Pinellas County Codes Division and the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office on the things that they can do, but my understanding from Pinellas County is that technically they haven't violated any ordinances yet. So for right now, what I would advise you is that we want to play nice with them at this point to try to get as much alleviation for you guys as we can. I want for anyone who attends this event to be as honest as possible with what you're experiencing. Show them the videos, talk to them about your experiences, tell them what's happening, but please come in with an honest perspective and opinion and recognize that they set up this event at our request to listen to your concerns and to try to work with us. If nothing happens and they more or less tell us, oh well, then we can come with the stick and we can come with the vinegar and we can throw some haymakers and see what happens. But until that's the way that it becomes necessary, I would hope that we can recognize that they're doing this trying to work with us. And so for now, let's do what we can to be collaborative and try to meet them halfway, because ultimately these events are going to continue to happen. And if they're not doing anything that's violating what Pinellas County's standard of ordinances are, there's not really anything that we can do to change that. So let's do what we can to make the most impact, to make everyone's lives a little bit easier and breathable for you guys, especially if I'm hearing it from the same as I do from Renaissance. From what I hear is the karaoke days are the worst. Would you guys say that that's a valid statement?
That or a lot of music is just absolutely vulgar, like every other word's cuss word, slang. I mean, it is, I can hear the words clearly.
Yeah, and I do think, to be fair to them, there are some issues with it bouncing off the water that at certain volumes, they're never going to be able to control. That I don't know that you guys probably experienced, or perhaps some of you didn't live here at the time when the dog track was operating at its fullest, that perhaps you were able to hear the races. Like that's probably a much different, like, oh, they're coming around the bend, like that's probably not as irritating as, some of the things that Brad is expressing right now, especially for those of you guys that have young children. But at this point, let's do what we can to start with honey before we move to vinegar.
The other, and I'm fairly new to the neighborhood as well. I moved in a month before Halloween, so yes, I share the experience. The volume has, on several occasions, ramped up fairly dramatically. The closer you got to 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11. So, rather than, it just got louder and louder, assuming as the party got going.
Well, and if it's happening after 10 p.m., that is where you can contact the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office.
I did.
Because what I've been hearing is that from the other neighborhoods is that they're cutting it off very close to 10 p.m. and that it's stopping at 10 p.m. So if that has changed in the last several weeks, that is something where we need to definitely be expressing to them that it's happening past 10 p.m. now. So there are flyers on the back table there. That event is happening on Thursday, January 29th. So that's next Thursday, 6 to 8 at the Derby Lane property in the Wind Derby. I want to say it's like the 3rd floor, but they're going to have signs directing. I'll be there. Councilmember Gabbard will be there. We'll be directing people. They're going to serve little refreshments and things like that. They are really trying to work with us. They have been trying to be hospitable to us. They've met with Councilmember Gabbard multiple times. They've been receptive to our feedback. They've been trying to change things. I understand that from y'all's perspective, you're not necessarily seeing that, but I think they need to hear it in like real core, honest feedback. And I genuinely hope that if we go in collaboratively, things will change. It could be a pipe dream, I could be totally wrong, and it could be nothing different in a week. But I think we have to start with this and see what we can get and then move forward with what we need to do further, because at this point right now, we don't really have a lot of recourse, because until it becomes consistently after 10 p.m., from what I'm being told by the county, is they are not violating ordinances.
So the cutoff is 10, it's not 11.
Correct.
It's not
Correct.
Ordinance in the Pinellas County is 10 o'clock.
Correct.
Good to know.
I just live in the rest.
Yes, sir.
What I'd like to know is, I've read in the Tampa Bay Times that they plan on, they are exploring gaming again, going into that realm. Do you guys?
There's gaming.
Still are.
They never got rid of gaming.
No, but they're going to go more in.
Expand gaming.
They're going to expand the gaming. Do you guys know, as the city, do you know what their plans are? I think they've talked about it. I don't know if we're privy, the public is, but.
So, to be very frank, I'm not sure they know what they want to do. I don't know if you saw pretty recently, within the last month or so, the property went up for sale again. I don't know that they're genuinely serious about selling the property as much as they wanted to see what type of offers they might get. I don't want to speculate on what they may or may not do with the property, because in various conversations what we've had, whether or not they know, they haven't necessarily told us. I do think that these are very valid questions that can be asked at that meeting, because they did say that they wanted to discuss it, because if they keep the property, they are very, very interested in what their closest geographical neighbors want to see, because they want you to use it. I mean, respectfully, you're their target. You guys are the target market for who would utilize that property if they were to do more gaming, a supper club, I don't know, a plethora of things that could appear on that property. Beyond housing that you already have, you would be the target market for anything in an entertainment stance that would appear on that property. So they would want to know what your opinions are. So respectfully, I'm not sure that they know what they want to do with that property yet.
Yeah, you said that they bought it, and whenever they did buy it, what, are they trying to sell it at let's say they bought it for $5 million, are they trying to sell it for $15 million?
Anything that I would tell you at this point would be speculative. I'm genuinely not sure. That is a question that you could ask them, and respectfully, they'll answer it if they feel comfortable. I don't know. Yeah, they've not revealed that type of information.
I saw this. Currently, the asking price is undisclosed. You have to contact them and their attorneys to have that conversation. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, they did put it back up for sale after the race sale went through, and the new owner said they were looking for a new site, so potentially could just be an opportunistic thing. Dale, do you have a?
I saw a letter stated they're looking for a partner to purchase part of the land. They're still wanting to keep what they have. Mm-hmm. They're just trying to expand on what they're doing on that property. Yeah. And they're looking for partnerships in order to do an adult type facility. It may be bowling, it may be some kind of adult entertainment that they can do on that property.
But yeah, but these are all great questions to ask them directly. I'm gonna be out of town, so unfortunately I won't be there. So the more of you that show up,
Yes.
I know you guys all are gonna be like, hey Vanessa, what happened? I'm gonna be like, you tell me. 'Cause
Yes,
I'm not
please-
gonna
please
be there.
attend,
So
'cause the last thing we
if
want-
some people can.
Yeah, the last thing we want is to be telling them that the neighborhood is coming to us with frequent concerns, and then it's Brandi and I staring at them in a room for 2 hours, eating, like 75 stuffed mushrooms, and, like 42, like black cokes. So please, you don't have to stay 6 to 8. Show up, ask them the questions, express your concerns. Please join us.
Yeah, I think your point is excellent. Let's be nice until it's time not to be nice, and we don't want to motivate them to get spiteful.
Yeah.
I've heard that some people have gone over there frustrated and yelled, and that hasn't worked well. But let's get it out to the board that the meeting is happening, that we're going to come as professionals and positive and work the process and go from there. So bring your kids. I mean, tell them, my kid's got to hear gangster rap with foul words. This is my home. I just bought it. It just went down a huge amount, and it's my biggest investment, and who's going to want to buy it? Take the humanistic approach, and I think that's the way we should really lead as a community.
What's the date of that?
That is Thursday, January 29th. So not this coming Thursday, but the Thursday after. There are flyers on the back if you want to hang one on your fridge.
Yep, and that's on the back down here too, because I
Oh,
picked that
yes,
up
and
as
Vanessa
soon
was
as
so
I
kind
saw
as to
the
put it on-
announcement. I was like,
On her,
it's on the back of the agenda, and there's a separate flyer, so take some extras, hand them out to your neighbors. We did put it up on our social media, and it's on our calendar. If you go to our website, it's there in case you forget.
yes, you will unfortunately be spammed with it because we would love for you to attend. Sorry in advance.
Yeah. Just as to, I'm gonna do this because on the video they always get mad when people try and watch after that they can't hear me. The rest of our first quarter events, our canal cleanup is currently scheduled for March 14th. So last year we did it later because of the hurricanes. It was ridiculously hot in August, so we moved it back to the spring. So hopefully it will be much more pleasant to walk along the roads and along the bay than it was last year. So put that on your calendar, and then we will be out with the full schedule of events for the year after our first board meeting, when we all sit down and decide when there will be enough people here to put them on. And then the egg hunt is always Saturday before Easter. We're just waiting to hear back from the Parks Department. So if your kids are looking forward to that, hopefully I put the application in soon enough this year, because they make you wait until so many days before the event. So that's it. But if anybody wants to volunteer, I'll just put all that together. There is a sign up link on the website for the canal cleanup. You can just click the join now button, and you can tell us you're coming, tell us how many kids are coming, and pre-fill out your liability form. We take all that information to our partner Keep Pinellas Beautiful, and tell them how many t-shirts we need. So if you want a cool Keep Pinellas Beautiful t-shirt, fill that out in advance. We have to give them that information a week before the event. So, and then Jack, did you have anything from Lindsay's office?
Yeah, we got about 7 bills in their appropriations coming to go.
Yeah, why don't you go over some stuff?
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
Or you can
Hi
come
everyone, my name is Jack Sayer. I am the District 8 for Representative Lindsay Cross. She is the local representative. Yes, so I'm Jack Sayer. I'm the District 8 Representative Lindsay Cross in the local area. She is currently in Tallahassee for the second week of the ongoing legislative session, but obviously wanted to have someone here to talk about her current filed bills and her appropriations that we get passed this session. So I won't go through, the whole meat and potatoes. It'll be quite a while, but one of the biggest bills that she's really confident about is building inspections during emergencies. This is a direct response to the issues of 2024. Obviously, I don't need to say, how tough it was for everyone recovering after Helene and Milton. The main push behind this bill is that the Florida Division of Emergency Management will be requiring continuous statewide training for state and local leaders after hurricanes hit. The goal is for there to be plans in place for permitting processes after storms come through. A big part of this is going to be mutual aid agreements, so entering into partnerships with other state and cities across the country. I don't have information yet on what states and cities those would be, but throughout the process that'll get narrowed down. The goal is to really prevent those staffing surges that we saw when people were trying to get permits, waiting for months on end, running out of information. The city was doing what they could, but the sheer number of applicants was really difficult. So one of our other big bills is the Management Protection Act. Many of you may have seen last year off the coast of Panama City, a video went viral of a manta ray being taken from waters off the coast of Panama City to be transported to Abu Dhabi. This was done through a special activities license that's part of FWC. This bill would basically close that loophole that would prevent the capture and transport of these threatened species from Florida waters, to wherever, across the globe. Reporting further came out that one of the manta rays that actually died in captivity. It obviously angered a lot of people statewide, and so Rep. Cross is partnering with Senator Eliana Garcia in the Senate. So we're very happy about that as well. She's also running back her advanced wastewater treatment bill. Basically, this would require the state to do annual reports on the quality of water infrastructure throughout the state, making sure that every year we're understanding how much pollution is going into the waterways across the state. She's also doing a transportation infrastructure land development regulations bill with Senator Busan. Effectively, this would target transit-oriented development zones within urban areas, making sure that there's less zoning issues for local cities when they're trying to pass, more transportation infrastructure legislation. Then she's also doing her elections during emergencies bill. In 2024, when the hurricane swept through, it was really difficult for a lot of people to access their polling locations. Coming from the storms, being able to do their civic duty. For a lot of folks, obviously you're not gonna vote if you're not even in your home. This would allow the SOE to have greater flexibility with hosting new polling locations, making sure there's a framework for counties impacted by emergencies to make sure elections are held. Then there was the Veterans Benefits Payments Bill. She's working with Senator Don Gates, the Panhandle on this one. For a lot of children in guidance of the state whose parents were veterans who served in the armed forces, this would allow them to access benefits through the Veterans Affairs to make sure that they were able to get that. And then finally, there's the surface water bill that she's also partnering with Senator Garcia on. This one's kind of multifaceted. It strengthens environmental protections against dredge and fill permitting, requiring polluters to pay for damages. It also improves how wetlands across the state are measured. And it also designates coral reefs as critical infrastructure, which we feel is really important, not just as, being a natural remedy against storm surges, but also it's part of, Florida's character and history, so we feel that that's really important. She's also doing 7 appropriations, and to run through them real quickly. She's put in $2.5 million for improvements to the Mahaffey Theater. This would be for lighting and sound system upgrades. For the Pinellas Opportunity Council, their emergency assistance program, that would be $500,000. For the Very Special Arts Program, which helps disabled students and adults operate in society, that's going to be $166,000. For SPFC, that's going to be $750,000. For the St. Pete Free Clinic, they do really great work at returning the money they receive into much larger sums of food. Creative Pinellas, they're running a nurse pilot program, that'll be $50,000. The Pinellas Park Autumn Run neighborhood, they have 3 ponds really in need of dredging, so this would be $750,000, and then $2.9 million for the Shore Acres Denver Street Storm Damage Improvement Project that's being done in response in partnership with the city. So if anyone has any questions, issues, I'll be leaving my card on the table. Feel free to reach out whenever. Rep. Cross will be in Tallahassee for the session until about halfway through March, and we want to hear what everyone has to say, good things, bad things. I'm, handcuffed to our office phone pretty much every day, so feel free to call us whenever. We're on 4th Street and 22nd in the Climb and Demo building, so if you ever want to come in, please feel free. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Doug.
Thank you.
All right, that's a lot of good stuff. And I know you guys just heard about Shore Acres, so I'm going to make a point. They have been working on getting that funding for years. And I have had a couple of chats with their president about how the heck he's done that. So as soon as we get the rest of our studies done, we will have a sit down with Rep. Cross and the city on how we go into Tallahassee and get some funding for Riviera Bay that doesn't have to directly come from the city as well. So just keep that in mind, as we haven't had the problems that they have had for years down there, just because they're really low. But so hopefully, there is a Riviera Bay specific resiliency study that's supposed to be done in December, but I think there was like an extension to that, which came from our tour that we did this last year, that will come up with a plan. This is in addition to the study for the dredging on canals 11 and 12, which if you don't know where those are, it is the canal that goes from Sunlit Cove south, and then at 78th Street where those concrete culverts dump into Riviera Bay, it goes out 79th Avenue, all the way through Cayo Costa to the bay. Kim's got a map. So it's those two canals that are really, parts of them are completely impassable.
As well.
Yeah.
Vanessa has it on the Facebook.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere. There's pictures
So
of
you
it.
can review this
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, and so if you are not on social media and you don't follow us, I am trying to actively put a bunch more stuff on our website this year, because I didn't do that the first year, so I had to learn how. So I'm a little bit slow, but you can add our calendar like to your own Google Calendar links now, and as we get these PDFs, like I'm trying to get in there every couple of weeks and update them for people that don't do Facebook and Instagram. So with that, is there anything else?
I have two,
Yeah,
like,
Kim had two
very,
other things.
three super quick things. Cool. Vanessa already mentioned the District 2 Master Plan. I'm just gonna call out that the flyer that's on the back has access to the website as well. So beyond the survey, there is a website that just kind of explains it a little bit more in depth. If you guys wanna take a look at that. There will be some in-person public engagement opportunities as well for you guys to continue to give feedback. Speaking of resiliency, we are going to be doing a demonstration of what they're terming the Knife Gate pilot project. If you guys have ever wondered on 83rd Avenue and just at that northwest corner of Riverside Drive, there's like a traffic cabinet that has a solar panel attached to it. If you guys have ever wondered what that is, it is the power cabinet to the Knife Gate. I'm putting this in quotations because it's something that doesn't exist. It's something that the city created with their engineering department and the stormwater department as a pilot project to try to help combat some of the flooding issues that were happening in that area. So our senior stormwater operations manager, Michael Perry, is going to be out there on Saturday, January 31st, 9:30 a.m. There's a flyer back there that I made. It's very professional graphics that I made on Canva today for you guys, just for you. So I hope you really appreciate it. It took me like a whole solid 30 minutes to put this information into Canva. So please, go easy on it. But we're going to do a little demonstration of it. He's going to discuss how they came up with this, why they're doing it, how it works in conjunction with some of the other methods that they've been trying, and just give a full rundown of it, answer any questions. I don't see my best friend Steve LeCouve here, so I'll be giving him a personal phone call tomorrow to talk to him about this demonstration. So please, 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 if you live in that area, or if you're just interested and you want to geek out about resiliency items, please come by and see us. Vanessa already mentioned that Councilmember Gabbard is in Tallahassee this week. One of the big things that she is there for, Jack mentioned some appropriations requests that Rep. Cross is doing. Councilmember Gabbard has partnered with Senator Nick DeSigley on a big appropriations request for the Tampa Bay area that is with the CREST program. So CREST is an acronym for Construction, Resilience, Elevation, Skills, Training. I made that in big, giant, bold letters here so I wouldn't forget. Essentially, we've been working with a gentleman, his name is Rod Scott, he's from Louisiana. He works with the Flood Mitigation Industry Association, and he's developed a program where it would train and provide apprenticeship opportunities for individuals who want to do construction work and learn how to do the trade of flood mitigation and structural elevation. If you, before the storms or after the storms, tried to do anything related to floodproofing or elevation, you know exactly what I'm talking about in terms of trying to get a bid, trying to get a contractor to return your phone call. And if you did, you know exactly what that bid was, and your eyes probably popped out of your forehead. It's because it doesn't exist in the state. It's incredibly rare. It's like Davey and then a couple of randos that you might get to call you back. Am I correct? Like those of you who have tried it, you've had this experience. So if we can get this program up and running, it would be the only one in the state of Florida. We begin these apprenticeship programs. It creates opportunities for high-paying jobs. It creates opportunities for business ownership. And then guess what? That continues to have a ripple effect that creates market opportunities for there to be competition. That competition drives the cost down for you as the homeowner and creates the opportunity for us to have access to that in our area. So we're really hoping that this appropriations request goes through. We've been working on this. I mean, Vanessa can vouch because she's been hearing rumblings of this conversation since the first tour that we did when we brought Kathy Castor and the mayor and Nick DeSigli and Lindsay Cross. We've been working on this for probably 18 months to 2 years at least. We first broached it through the city, trying to get them to fund it through the Workforce Development Department, and unfortunately, the mayor was interested, but kind of just said, maybe later, maybe later, maybe later. We've been working with Congresswoman Kathy Castor's office, and I don't know if you guys have heard, but climate change maybe isn't real. So we weren't really able to get funding at the federal level. So now we've kind of gone to our partners at the state, and we're hoping, third time's a charm, and we can possibly get some money to get this program off the ground and get it started and knock it out of the park. So. If you have interest in reading it because you're a resiliency nerd, I did make a QR code, very fancy, took me much less time than the Canva, and you can read all about Senator DeSigli's LFIR Local Funding Initiative Request, which is a very fancy way of saying an appropriations request. Jack can vouch for me that I just said that correctly, right? Did I get that acronym correct? Yes, if you'd like to read a 7-page appropriations request, here's a QR code link to it. But if not, basically, that's what it is in a nutshell. If you'd like to discuss that more, happy to talk to you about it, but I'm gonna turn it back over to Vanessa so we can get out of here.
Vanessa, real quick, it might be helpful if you can just explain the different sites. Facebook, I know there's a number of them. I know I came to you the other day and I was confused. Now I'm certainly not, but that might be helpful for people to know what's what real quick.
In 2024, we had a Facebook group that was supposedly the associations. That is not the associations anymore, and there was some issues with certain people taking admin control of sites that were the associations and then leaving the board and then refusing to turn assets back over to the board. So that was one of the clauses in the revised bylaws about that. So the Facebook group for the neighborhood is a group. It's private. Anybody can post in it. You can say all the nasty shit you want about any of the government you want in it. Feel free. Nobody will see it, right? You can post your lost dog, free stuff, all that. So that's just called Riviera Bay. If you try and join and you get rejected, that's the man that did it right there, because you didn't answer the group rule question that says you will be nice. That's all you have to do. You have to tell Don you live here and you agree to the group rules. So that's a private group we set up just because going through the process with Facebook to regain control of our other group, which is called Riviera Bay Neighborhood, we just decided it wasn't worth it and we just set up another one. Okay, so I know everybody's like, well, which one am I supposed to be posting in? If you want to know that the association is monitoring, it's not, your names aren't being taken, your information isn't being, it's not like a bunch of advertisers. The only people that advertise are like your neighbors going, hey, I've got free stuff, or hey, I own a local house cleaning business if you care. But you can't do a bunch of like that kind of public advertising, and it's private to the neighborhood. You can say whatever you want. Don't be mean. And then the Riviera Bay, the one that says Riviera Bay Civic Association, is a Facebook page, and that is it works like a business page. So we can post stuff and you can write comments, but the way Facebook works with that is like you can't post your own stuff, which is why we set up the group. Because I will say this, the hurricanes sucked, we all agree. But the silver lining was I think a lot more of us know each other now, and so there's a lot more willingness to say, hey, I've got extra left over this, like paint, or do you need a sheet of drywall, and so there's a lot of that. We wanted to keep that level of communication going, and I will say part of the reason all the board got blocked from our old Facebook group that we were actually moderators on, so that's why we had to set up a new page, because none of us could communicate with you anymore.
So if it's official from the board, it's on that.
It's on the one that says Riviera Bay, or Riviera Bay Civic Association. Those are the two that we use. So that's why. So people ask, you can post on the other one still if you want. That's a public group. We don't control it anymore. And literally when they said it was a 3-year process to regain control, we were just like, yeah, we're not gonna wait that long. So we just set up the other one. And actually Don gave us the old Crime Watch page and then turned over control, like admin control to us, not to me, to the Civic Association. So the Civic Association, like fully, it's been done properly now by people that now understand all of the ins and outs of Facebook, because I did not at the time. So that's how you do it. So
Thank you.
You see a lot of posts from me and Dom, because I set up the automated one. That thanks you all for joining it. There's 5 of you that joined. So, but those pages, all the QR codes that are in our newsletter will take you to those pages if you have Facebook. And then Instagram, we have an Instagram, which is getting great because Patricia is in control of that, with all of her great knowing how to use Instagram. So if you're an Instagram person, you'll see a lot of updates there. Do you guys have anything you want to bring to us tonight?
Dale does.
The voting channel going out, what can we do to get the markers put where they need to be?
Right.
Replace the ones that are missing. Ever since the storm, it's been a real plus.
Yeah, we've been in communication with the Coast Guard and FWC about that. They thank us for the report, and then it kind of goes away. So I'm gonna see.
The value of our home.
It really does. Completely understand that. Yes, it does. And if you are not familiar with how everything is shifted and the wrong time of day, you're gonna run aground in some places. And then I do know that like 4 of the posts that were like really far out at the mouth of the bay did actually get replaced last year from our complaints. But I think shifting the channel takes a lot more agencies, even though we all see it and it's like, just move the post over 20 feet. They have to redo charts and all that. So that is something that we do definitely need to put more focus on this year. So I will make a note of that.
We've been part of that channel through a sandbar for years.
Oh yeah, we've been going around that one, I think since I moved here. But yeah, the main other, and I actually, the people from Kaya Costa did send me 2 emails a couple of weeks ago after they saw us on the news about how they were like, how are you getting that part of the canal dredged? Like, you need to do it all the way out through Kaya Costa and all the way out through the mouth, because when you get to the mouth and you can't get out here, even if they can't get out from there, well, that's great. They're gonna be able to make it all the way out and then get stuck again and not. So they're saying there's like that very large sediment deposit, which is also pushed out really far. So now that one section is really narrow. But I will work on seeing maybe escalating it with FWC and the Coast Guard and having them actually give us some timelines, and I will copy Jack on all that. Jack is really good about that stuff. If you email him, he'll you right back. It's great. So let me put that on the list of things for our board to look into. Anything else anybody wants to say about anything? New grandkids, anything?
Just real quick, just want to thank the board for volunteering. I know the pay's great, but we do appreciate what you're doing, and I know we're all going to support you. So.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And like, we're here for you. Like we all live here, right? So we all see. Well, so I've lived on this end of the neighborhood, and after doing the resiliency tours, I've gotten to know people like all the way throughout. I know with the hurricanes, even more people all the way throughout. And there's been a lot of turnover in the last year. Just going through the membership stuff this year, I'm like, oh wait, nope, they don't live there anymore. Like updating our records, but and we've met a bunch of great new people right around Christmas that had all just moved in. So like we have a lot of new neighbors, and just sort of letting them know about the Civic Association. I will say we lived here for like 3 years and didn't even know it really existed. I mean, we bought candles, but we didn't know about it. So doing that and getting involved, and if you see issues, like please send them to us. Like if you're emailing Brandi's office, or if you're emailing Senator Lindsay Cross or Senator DeSiglia about an issue, and you just want to like copy us on it, so we can kind of like go through when we meet and go, I've heard this from like 5 people. Like maybe this is something we should pick up and make more importance and try and focus on, or if there's something that you think is of value for the whole neighborhood to know, tell us, because we're always trying to come up with stuff to put in the newsletter. So anything to that. We did have someone, and I'll throw this out there, sent me an email a couple weeks ago saying, can there be a group about people who are rebuilding their homes or who have elevated where they can just get together and talk to each other? Because there's a lot of people thinking about starting, and there's a lot of people that are going through the process. Because I get a lot of questions about variances. If you don't want a sidewalk, there's a way to not have a sidewalk. If you don't know that, you can apply for a variance. I say, that's great, there's no sidewalks in the neighborhood. We approve. So there's a lot of that stuff. We haven't elevated our house because we've only flooded this one time. So, but if anybody's interested in participating in something like that, if you've gone through the process, if you have any knowledge that you want to share with your neighbors, and we can say, hey, come out this one day and we'll get a space or here and get some food and let people sit down and talk to each other about it, let us know, because if we get a lot of interest in things like that, we can do that. So if you just want to have a bunch more block parties, you know, anything, seriously. We sit down and spitball it, and it's based upon feedback. So, yeah, we just try and pick the big things out of the air that we hope we can get done, like dredging. So, but thank you, I appreciate all of that. Anyone else?
Okay. Just since you brought it up,
Yeah.
about the sidewalk thing, we're getting a lot of pushback about the easy variance. Like,
Yeah.
They're basically, from my understanding, there was 3 options. Like,
Yeah.
you can do it.
Yeah.
You can pay the in lieu fee, which is like $10,000, and then you can pay like this variance fee.
Uh-huh.
They're, I think, going away with that easy variance thing, and it's only 2 options now. So if anybody else has gone through it and has definitely done the super cheap option, please talk to me, because right now I'm understanding is it's only the $40 square foot fee now.
What are they getting rid of? I know it's a new year, so.
I don't know, that's what we're getting pushback on.
Our neighbor was the one that got the variance, we could maybe make an introduction.
Yeah.
That would be
They went the cheap route, it was, I think they would have to pay $350, is that what it was?
Yeah, it was a $350,
I think
it was
$350.
a fee,
Yeah,
yeah.
a fee, and they took, you know, another 2 months to get the clearance, so they got the sidewalk in.
Yeah.
They're ready, just so you know, they're gonna make them put a sidewalk in to nowhere.
If you want to see one,
There's no sidewalks in the neighborhood.
There's
They
one.
want them in the middle of the lot.
90th Avenue, if you want to go walk on a sidewalk in our neighborhood.
But they were gonna be the
It's
only
really
ones.
cute. It's one street. You can walk. The house is for sale, so you're not bothering anybody. You can just take your dog on a little walk on a sidewalk to nowhere. But yeah, okay. Well, that's good to know that, because last year I think I did 5 of them last year for people. So because I talked to Lauren, I was like, hey, you just filed this paperwork. So oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, we'll look into that. Can we find out if that's changed? Okay.
Age-based person